Hey, and welcome back or to my channel. I'm going to be talking today about my explant and implant experiences. As I shared my explant journey on Instagram, I got a lot of questions asked and continue to get questions asked. So I just wanted to have this video where I could use for a resource for those of you who has questions or wondering about this as well. So this is just a bunch of questions that were asked over and over and over again, and I have the kind of outline of how all of this is gonna go down. I've got my water. Did I already tell you that? This is something that is kind of hard to talk about. It is very vulnerable to talk about, but I just hope, just like my other videos, they are informational and helpful for those of you who are curious and looking for this kind of information. So first, to start, I got asked a lot about when, why, and what type of implants I had. So I got my breast implants July of 2014. This was before my husband and I were married. And the cost, because that was another question, the cost for the implants was around $5,500. My implants were over the muscle, so I did not need general anesthesia for them. I was actually awake during my implant surgery, just heavily medicated. And they were over the muscle, silicone, high profile. I cannot remember how many cc they were. That was a question I got asked a lot, and I was like, seriously, that number became irrelevant after I got them, but they were high profile. So I had very high cleavage. Like when they were first implanted, they were high. The reason why they did over the muscle is because at that time in my life, I was into bodybuilding, bikini competition style training. And that's what two surgeons that I consulted with suggested. And that is what I thought at the time was the best decision for me. So that kind of answers the beginning end of this story. Why did I remove them? That was a big question, asking if I had breast implant illness or if there were any problems or complications with my implants. And I have seen many of my friends and heard many stories of breast implant illness. I think I was starting to get some symptoms of breast implant illness, but I do not think I had breast implant illness like many that I've heard from. I can look at the list of breast implant illness symptoms and things like weight loss resistance. I would eat literally like 1,200 calories, still lose no weight, exercise, you know, just, I was doing the right things to try to lose weight and it was not coming off. I gradually gained a lot of weight after getting my implants. Body odor, that was one thing, and I did talk about that on my Instagram, is I noticed I had BO a lot after I had my implants in, but after I got my implants in, I got married, I got pregnant, I've had 2 babies in the course of from when I got them to now, and I just associated that with like hormone and pregnancy and postpartum related, but I knew it was probably breast implant related when I got my surgery on a Wednesday, February 6th, and I wore the same exact hoodie for 3 days straight, and it had absolutely zero body odor. Tuesday, before surgery, I was wearing a sweatshirt, and just to prove to myself I wasn't crazy, I took that sweatshirt out of my dirty hamper and I smelled it, and it was like, that body odor. I didn't even wear that sweatshirt for a whole day, and it had just this nasty, awful body odor. And the sweatshirt I had been wearing for 3 days post-op, nothing. I still can go quite some time without showering. I can use a very natural deodorant and it works just fine, whereas before, natural deodorants, I use them because I know the health benefits are better, but I still smell really bad. Those were the breast implant illness symptoms where I think, you know, I had, so my reasons for removing my implants were because I was literally at the point of replacing them or explanting them. They do suggest replacing your implants every 10 years. And in 2014, that seems so far off. I was not married. I didn't have kids yet. And so the financial picture of things was just me, myself, and I really at that point. And now it's like, I look at the cost, I was looking at the cost, I'm like, I don't want to have this surgery every 10 years. I'd seen my friends with crazy breast implant illness stories and them in real life. And I was like, I'm not playing with this fire anymore. And also because I had 2 pregnancies with my implants over the muscle, the only thing keeping my implants up was my breast tissue and my skin. So they were starting to get so saggy. They were starting to get so saggy and uncomfortable. It literally, they never felt like a part of me. They literally always felt like, to me, 2 things that were foreign objects in my body, which they are. So they just were not comfortable anymore. In between, like for my cleavage, I had like very uncomfortable pulling feelings from my implants, and I felt very self-conscious. I do feel like my implants made me look fatter than I was. And I mean, fatter for lack of a better word, as I stumble over my words making this video, but I do think they made me look bigger than what I am, just because I am short. I have a short torso and everything just looked really roly-poly. Even now I am 16 days post-explant and I already feel like I look slimmer. I've lost between 5 and 6 pounds already, and I really feel like the more weight is just gonna keep coming off since my body is no longer trying to attack this foreign object out of my body. And that kind of brings me back to like the whole breast implant illness, like logically can like make sense to me, because even when I was getting my cerclage, you know, doctors have to go over all of the precautions of what could happen when a foreign object is placed into your body. And the reality is, when a foreign object is placed into your body goes into attack mode. So even with my cerclage, they told me like, this is a foreign object. Your body may try to attack it and reject it, and that has precautions. But with the cerclage, it's like this little teeny tiny zip tie that goes around your cervix. Irrelevant to this breast explant video, but just logically it makes sense to me. Whereas like implants are 2 huge things, 2 huge foreign objects inside of your body. No wonder why your body tries to attack it. It tries to protect you from it. That slows down your immune system. That can slow down a lot of other functions within your body to try to remove or protect you from this foreign object. So it makes sense to me. So that's why, a long story of why I removed them. Preparing for surgery, what was that like? So preparing for surgery, I really did do a lot of research. I joined a couple explant group. I made sure I found the right doctor who would remove them the right way. I prepared financially, I prepared mentally, and I really sought out the support of friends that have been through this journey before me and took their advice. And I'm actually like recovering and everything way better than I thought I was going to be. So the day of surgery, I was just so nervous. I had never been fully under anesthesia. And that was really scary to me, was walking into the room and walking into the office and knowing like things could happen, and thinking of my boys and thinking of all of the things, you know, I was being really hard on myself for going through this, but I knew I knew in my heart it's what was best. Pain. So waking up from surgery, I remember just feeling really groggy. I remember feeling very tight, but getting my implants in was definitely worse than getting them removed. Getting them removed, the drains were really annoying. I got my drains removed at 6 days post-op, and that was like night and day difference. Those drains were probably the worst part of the whole thing, and they're really not that bad. They're just annoying. I took pain medication for 2 days. I've consistently been taking CBD oil since I've been postpartum with my second. I've been resting a lot. We did put both boys in daycare, so I am able to rest as much as I can during the day, and I'm really starting to get back into like being able to hold my babies, and with Bryce, it's actually easier. So my oldest is 2 at this time, and he is actually easier on me than the baby is. And what I mean by that is like when Bryce wants to be lifted or if he needs help into something, he can grab onto my neck, and then I kind of like squat and stand up to lift him, and he can stabilize himself, whereas my 7-month-old is kind of wobbly and he'll kind of like bump into me at times, which I'm just sore. I'm still feeling a little tender on the sides of my breasts, and but other than that, the tenderness and soreness and pain is very minimal. It's just I feel a little tender on the sides. So it wasn't really that bad. Not as bad as I was expecting, but I know for some women it's hard, because if they have to go under the muscle and reconstruct things, it can be a more invasive surgery. But for me, being over the muscle, really like the main things that are healing for me is my body. So this is like, would be my chest wall, and this would be like my breast tissue. It's used to an implant being in there, right? So my goal for the month is I have to wear compression bras or tight sports bras for the next month, so then we can keep, like, we want that pocket to close and to heal. And so that's the main thing. And then also obviously the scars are healing. I did get a lift. So that was another question, a big question that was asked by many people, like, how do I feel about how they look now? Number one, I wish I would have never got implants, because I do have really good breast tissue. The doctor that implanted said, you have great breast tissue. The doctor that explanted, they're both different doctors, said you have great breast tissue. These are gonna heal great. I do have some stretch marks on my boobs. Those are mostly from pregnancy and when your milk comes in, because that is like, that was insane. When I had my implants and my milk came in, I seriously had like porn star size boobs. My boobs prior to, that was another question, what size were my boobs when I had implants? About a 34D or double D. And then now I don't know, because I'm just wearing like tight compression sports bras. I would guess an A, you know, once they fluff back out, but I'm not sure what I am right now. I'm happy with the lift. My incision scars, that was another question. So my incision underneath, I had that, I took that tape off at like, I think at like 11 days post-op, and because it was starting to get really itchy. And so I called my surgeon and they were like, yeah, remove them and see if the itchiness goes away, because it might be getting too dry or blah, blah, blah. So I removed them and they look like just normal implant scars. I wasn't surprised by them at all, because I know, like, when I got my implants, I know what they looked like and I know what they healed. I delayed making this video because I had not removed the tape around my areola yet, and I was really nervous about that. And actually I did that today while I was in the shower, And the surgeon had to take like, I think a black marker or something and make a circle around my areola, and that is still on there. And so as I was peeling it and removing it, I did get a little woozy. Those scars are a little bit different, they're different than what I thought they were gonna be. And so, but then I was just thinking about the whole thing, and sometimes when you think about that, you start to psych yourself out. And so I literally like took the one off and then got out of the shower, put my sports bra back on, put on my robe, and tried to distract myself, because I know as I heal, they're gonna change and they are gonna be just fine. Everybody tells me that. But it just needs to take a little time. But I was just a little thrown off, and I don't even know if I'm getting a little pale talking about it now, but I mean, it was a little bit of a shock to see that scar and to think about the lift. Just don't even kind of think about it. So I am happy with how they look right now. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it. And the scars, they'll heal, they'll be just fine. I'm not concerned about that. They don't look like, I imagine them to look like Frankenstein's monster, where it was just like the really jagged stitch, like just awful, and they don't look like that at all. They look very, very well. And then last thing I'll kind of talk about is cost. So like I said, my implants were around $5,500 to get them implanted. I did that at Dr. Wire's office near the city is Minneapolis, Minnesota. Was it Eden Prairie? I don't know, one of those towns, but Dr. Wire. And then for EXPLANT and my lift, I did Dr. Ahmed Abdullah in Fargo, and he's also one of the, he is one of the top facial plastic surgeons in this area, but also in Dubai. So he is very experienced. That's why I went to him, was when I talked to him about how he removes implants and what he does. He really does things the right way by removing the implant and the capsule at once. And he makes sure that the whole capsule comes out. And he still does, that's a question that people who have breast implant illness talk to me about is does my doctor still do implants? Yes, and I didn't talk to him about breast implant illness because I didn't need a surgeon that is anti-implants. I just wanted a surgeon that would do it and do it the right way and had experience and expertise in it. And so that is why I chose him. And then also because like I didn't want to be traveling for post-op appointments anymore. Like when I was not married and didn't have kids, it wasn't that big of a deal to make a full day trip to Minneapolis for post-op appointments. I think after my implants, I did that 4 times. And that wasn't a big deal because then I made like a shopping day out of it, or I visited a friend that lived down there. But now with kids, I'm like, no, I want to just be able to go to my appointment and come back home. So that is my video on this topic. If you have any more questions, you can leave them down below in the comments. I do appreciate your guys' support and encouragement and love and positivity through this journey. I'm happy to share anything that you really want to know. No, I'm not gonna like show any type of before and afters publicly, but yeah, we don't have to make that awkward. But I hope you guys are having a great day. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end because I already know this video is gonna be super long, and I'll see you in my next one.